50 Cent is probably the king of rap beefs. Not in the sense of winning them maybe, but in quantity, he's right up there with rappers like Game and Joe Budden. This time we're going to talk about his beef with fellow Queens rapper Nas. Let's take it back to the beginning. Nasir Jones aka Nas got his break in rap at the age of 17 or 18 when he was featured on the group Main Source's song Live at the Barbecue from their debut album Breaking Atoms, released in July 1991. Then in 1992 he was featured on the soundtrack to the film Zebrahead with the song Halftime, which is his debut single. That song also featured on his debut album Illmatic, released in May 1994, which is considered a classic and one of the best rap debut albums of all time. Then he went on to release It Was Written in July 1996 and then 2 albums in 1999, I Am and Nostradamus. 50 Cent at this time was a new rapper who was being mentored by Jam Master Jay from the group Run DMC and signed to his label JMJ Records. In 1999, he released the infamous How to Rob record, on which he takes aim at numerous artists. Allegedly, 50 had included a Nas line on the song, but wound up taking it off.
Now, was it true that he had Nas's name?
Hell yeah, he had Nas' name in there. He had a couple names in there.
Pun.
Pun's name might have been.
You talking about How to Rob?
Yeah.
Pun, RZA.
No,
RZA.
But originally, he took Nas' name out.
Yeah, because it's not on the record. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who said what to who, but it wasn't on the record when I heard it. No more. Hell no.
In 1999, he wound up signing to Columbia Records like Nas and got invited to the Nostradamus tour. Also in 1999, 50 released the song Your Life's on the Line, which was a diss to Ja Rule, and he shouted out Nas with the lines, "Now here's a list of MCs that could kill you in 8 bars. 50, Jay-Z and Nas." 50 wound up getting dropped from the label, however, after getting shot in May 2000. Then he was blackballed in the industry due to the influence of Irv Gotti and Murder Inc., who he was beefing with. The beef between Nas and 50 starts right around here. There's a few things that happened that caused this situation. For one, in February 2002, the remix album J to the LO, The Remixes, by Jennifer Lopez, was released, which features the track I'm Gonna Be Alright. At this time, getting a rapper on an R&B song was pretty common and vice versa. 50 Cent was supposed to be featured on the track originally, but was replaced by Nas. The original version of the song was on her second album, J-Lo, released in January 2001. Then the remix with Nas was released on this remix album, as Epic Records felt that Nas would be a better choice as he was a more successful rapper at the time compared to 50, who was an up-and-coming rapper still. 50 apparently was not warned by Nas about being replaced by him, which rubbed him the wrong way, as he and Nas were cool with one another and he felt he should have gotten a heads up about it. Certain pressings of the remix album had the remix of Nas, while other ones had the remix of 50. The version with Nas was also featured on her third album, This Is Me, Then, released in November 2002. This situation also goes back to another one between 50 and Nas. Around this time, Nas was also beefing with his childhood friend Cormega, who was a member of the firm before being replaced by Nature. According to 50, Nas wanted to do something similar that Jay did to Nas, using his woman against him.
Look, he wanted to do the same thing that Jay did to him with Carmen, to Mega. Because he called me to get Holly number in Queens, Circle 5, and Mega was messing with it at the time. He was tight at Mega at the time. He sent me to go get the number. I went through there.
Nas apparently also felt that Cormega had given information to Jay-Z to use to diss Nas. So Nas sent 50 to get Cormega's girlfriend's phone number so Nas could talk to her and try to get information apparently. 50 would state that Nas called him multiple times about it, so when the record label had replaced 50 Cent on the Lopez song, he would have expected Nas to return the courtesy.
It was like he called me like 3 times that night to tell me what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And then when I did the Jennifer Lopez joint, I did a remix for Jennifer, because the first thing I did is Puffy called me back to help him with the Make This Money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And after I did that, then I was working with Jennifer. I did a remix on one of her joints. Nas ended up doing the record. I wasn't mad that he did the record. I was mad that he didn't call me. You called me 3 times to ask me about Mega's girl. And then you didn't call me when you did the record though.
Also in November 2002, the album Irv Gotti Presents the Remixes was released. On that album is the remix to the song The Pledge. The original version is featured on the previous Murder Inc. compilation album, Irv Gotti Presents The Inc., and features Ashanti and Cadillac Ta. The remix features Ashanti, Ja Rule, and Nas, as well as a sample of Tupac vocals from Shed So Many Tears from his Me Against the World album. And the Pledge remix is also featured on Ja Rule's album The Last Temptation, which was released later that month. On Nas's verse, he takes shots at Jay and hints at joining Murder Inc. Around this time, it was rumored that Nas was considering signing to Murder Inc., which would have been a pretty big deal, especially considering this was after Nas had recently released his Stillmatic album, which was considered a comeback album by many, and had the Ether song, which was a diss to Jay-Z and Rockefeller Records and considered one of the best diss tracks of all time. This once again was clearly something that would rub 50 the wrong way, considering his lifelong beef with Ja Rule and Irv Gotti. On top of this, when 50 Cent and Tony Yayo were on tour with Nas and met Khalees, who Nas was with, they allegedly made a negative comment about how she smells. Yeah, I know, one of the weirdest things I've heard yet in all these rap beefs that I've covered. Before all of this, however, they had collaborated on songs together. On the 50 Cent mixtape, Guess Who's Back?, Nas is featured on the songs Too Hot, which also features Nature, and Who You Rep With, which also features Nas's group, Bravehearts. The mixtape was released in 2002, and the songs were likely recorded in 2001 or early in 2002 before these issues had occurred between the two. Around this time, G-Unit released the mixtape Automatic Gunfire, which features the track Bang Bang, on which 50 Cent has a line talking about a woman he dealt with that looks like Khalees. This line isn't necessarily a diss, but would appear to be the first time 50 makes mention of her on wax. Also, DJ Corrupt released a mixtape titled DJ Corrupt Presents the New Year Edition 2003, hosted by 50 Cent. That mixtape features a clip from a 50 Cent interview where he mentions that when he met Khalees, she was beautiful and was dressed nice, but she had a bad odor.
Khalees, y'all seen Khalees at the Euro Awards, but the bitch smelled like she was playing full court basketball. I ain't even gonna front. Yo, she was pretty as a motherfucker. She had an ill dress on and everything. Bitch smelled like full court basketball. Huh? You said that's Nas' wife? He fuck with her? Stop playing, man.
Then in February 2003, 50 Cent released the album Get Rich or Die Tryin', which is considered a classic album by many and wound up going diamond. It features the track Many Men, which happens to be one of my favorite 50 Cent songs, and the beat was actually made for Nas originally while he was working on his Godson album, which was released in December 2002. 50 Cent heard the beat while he was in the studio with Nas, and since Nas didn't wind up using it, he used it himself. Also on the album is the track Back Down, which is the Ja Rule diss. Years after the release of the album, however, it was revealed that the original version of the song also featured lines aimed at other rappers like Jay-Z, Cameron, and Nas. However, Dr. Dre told him to redo the song and leave out dissing the others. Later on in December 2003, the Bravehearts released their debut album, Bravehearted. On the title track, a subliminal shot is thrown at 50 Cent on the second verse with the lines, "You could put on that vest, I'ma shoot you in the head. Won't aim for the chest, bet you won't survive 10 hollow tips out my chrome 45. At this time, 50 was known for wearing bulletproof vests. Also, he was allegedly shot 9 times, so the 10 shots would be implying that they'll shoot him one more time on top of that. Later on in the verse, he has the lines, "Jungle live by the morals of the street, not like snitch CJ or bitch Jay-Z." CJ most likely is Curtis Jackson, which is 50 Cent. Speaking of the Bravehearts, another problem 50 would mention about Nas is that Nas didn't put his group on to make money like 50 did for G-Unit.
I didn't understand how, when he was in position, how he didn't do anything to set up his crew. You feel what I'm saying? Like, the Bravehearts, like at the time, Jungle, Wiz, Force, all of them, and we was all on the same van together. We wasn't even on a bus. Right. Like vans together, riding. And it was like, I was honored to even be allowed on his tour at that point, because I didn't have anything by How to Rob at that point. You know, he just said, yo, that record feels crazy. It reminds me But when I came out, he had options. He could have took Nature. Could have took other, there's other artists around it with AZ. Fox, he could have took whoever he wanted to take with him. And he said, no, he wanted me to come with him.
To be fair, this part is a bit true, as Banks, Buck, Yayo, and Game all put out Platinum Plus selling albums. Meanwhile, the Bravehearts never had much success as solo artists. Also in 2003, G-Unit put out the mixtape G-Unit Radio Part 3, Taking It to the Streets. On that mixtape is the track Sleep Remix, which samples the Tupac song Don't Go to Sleep. On the intro, 50 Cent disses Bang'em Smurf by telling him that he smells like Queensbridge. Those are the projects that Nas, his brother Jungle, and several other rappers are from. This was apparently a shot at the Queensbridge native and his crew for dissing 50. In 2004, Nas held a concert in Central Park during which he took a moment out to send a shot at 50 Cent among others.
I gotta thank every one of y'all for coming out here today and representing that real street New York shit, not that fake shit, not that 50 Cent.
In November that year, he released his album Street's Disciple. On that album is the song Disciple, in which Nas makes a reference to 50 with the lines, "This ain't 50, this ain't Jigga, this ain't Diddy, this ain't pretty. Pain, power, pussy, and pistols, lyrically no one hold none near me, hear me?" Also that year, Lloyd Banks released the mixtape Mo Money in the Bank Part 3, Cashing In, which features the track Burying Bodies featuring 50 Cent, on which 50 says he heard Nas talking about him. That would likely be a reference to Nas mentioning 50 at the Central Park concert. Then in March 2005, 50 Cent released the Massacre album, which features the track Piggy Bank. On that song, 50 Cent takes shots at Jadakiss, Fat Joe, Ja Rule, and Nas. On the second verse, he has the lines, "Khalees said her milkshake bring all the boys to the yard, and Nas went and tattooed the bitch on his arm. I mean, like, way out in Cali, niggas know you, cuz first thing they say about you is you a sucker for love." In 2003, Khalees released her third album, Tasty, which features the hit single Milkshake. Around that time, Nas and Khalees got married, and Nas got a tattoo of her on his arm. The mention of California is a reference to the Tupac song Do For Love from the album Are You Still Down? Remember Me, which was released in November 1997. The original name for the song is Sucker for Love. So basically 50 is calling Nas lame for being in love with Khalees. Also in the music video for Piggy Bank, at that part of the song, an animated version of Nas in a Superman outfit is shown chasing an ice cream truck, which is a reference to the Milkshake song, where she states her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, as well as Nas trying to be a superhero and save Khalees, which also goes back to the Sucker for Love line. Also in the music video, 50 pokes fun at the Game as well. Earlier in 2005, Game got kicked out of G-Unit and their beef was on from then. I've covered that on the channel before, so check it out after this. Game released the mixtape Ghost Unit, which features the track Don't Body Yourself remix, which is the song Don't Body Yourself by Nas, with Game putting a verse on it as well. On the second verse, Nas disses 50 Cent with the lines, "I'm hearing wanksters talking greasy, whether broke or rich. My friend Nasir bring that career to an end and I'm bored with you MCs. B, y'all beneath me and my raps bring horror like a board of a Ouija." Wanksters, of course, is a reference to the song Wankster from 50's album Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Then Nas disses 50 some more on the third verse as well with lines like, "And y'all wanna know why I ain't gotta answer niggas? Cause I truly understand these niggas scared of me, so they talk about family members like I can't point out your grandma to niggas." Which is Nas responding to 50 for the multiple mentions of Khalees. Then in November that year, 50 released the film Get Rich or Die Tryin' and the soundtrack to it. On that soundtrack is the hit single Window Shopper. One version of the song features 50 Cent on the chorus, once again dissing Ja Rule, Jadakiss, Fat Joe, and Nas, calling them window shoppers. Also on that album is the track What If, on which 50 takes a shot at Brooklyn rapper AZ, who was well known for being featured on Illmatic, as well as being a member of The Firm. On 50's first verse, he has the lines, "If I put out bullshit joints like AZ every chance niggas get, they try and play me." The shot might be aimed at AZ because of his affiliation with Nas. Then in December 2005, Funkmaster Flex put out the compilation album Car Show tour, which features the track Just a Touch by 50 Cent and Paul Wall. On the song, they used the beat from the Mobb Deep song The Realist, featuring Kool G Rap from their album Murder Music. On 50's verse, he has the lines, "On the radio they say me and you are item, Nas fall in love with hoes, me I just like 'em." That is yet again a reference to Khalees, who was married to Nas at the time. Around this time, Nas did a freestyle in which he threw shots at 50 Cent again. On it, he raps over a few different beats and he has the lines, "Guess every nigga a star when he gets shot on, that's awkward, I thought it was the other way around, a gangster's the one who busts his gun, not son laying down." That would seem to be pretty clearly aimed at 50. In December 2006, Nas released the album Hip Hop Is Dead, and around this time, G-Unit released the mixtape Hip Hop Is Dead, Verse 2, G-Unit Radio Part 22, which was likely 50 mocking Nas by copying the title and cover art. In November that year, Game put out the album Doctor's Advocate. Around the time of the album release, Game released a remix to the single One Blood from the album. On that remix, over 20 rappers are featured, one of those being Nas. The song features several other artists that were beefing with 50 Cent as well, like Fat Joe, Jadakiss, Ja Rule, and Game himself. On Nas's verse, he mentions rappers dissing him, which could be a subliminal diss to multiple rappers, one being 50 Cent. Also, one of the songs that was recorded for Doctor's Advocate but didn't make it on there is Street Riders, which features Nas and Akon. The song wound up appearing on Game's mixtape Break Lights, which was released a few years later in 2010. On Nas's verse, he references 50 with the lines, "I showed niggas they first Bentley, fuck I window shop. Show niggas they first ice, now they like I love you." Also on the album is the track Why You Hate the Game. On Nas's verse, it seems he sent subliminal shots at 50 with the lines, "Yeah, I learned my lessons and heard y'all snitching, witnessing you rocking with narcs confirmed my suspicion," as it was quite common to call 50 Cent a snitch around that time. Also, Nas ends his verse with the lines, "Ignore the ignorance, I rep the brilliance of Queensbridge and pray the feds let Murder Inc. live." That's a reference to Murder Inc.'s federal trial that went on from 2003 to 2005. Once again, some people claim that 50 snitched on Murder Inc., so this is possibly a reference to that, especially when you put it together with his earlier lines. In November 2006, AZ released his 6th album, The Format, which features the track Royal Salute, on which he responded to 50 Cent for dissing him on the What If track. AZ sends shots back at 50 on the end of his verse with the lines, "So 50, it's only a run, enjoy this here, matter of fact you ain't done, enjoy this year, and it's only fair that I make this clear, you could never fuck with me, so don't fuck with me. If money makes the man, then on Iraq land, Saddam statue will stand on top of the sand. You a fan, so overall respect my hand, cause I can see what's going on, I respect your scam." Then in September 2007, 50 Cent released the album Curtis, which features the track Fully Loaded Clip. On the chorus, 50 has the lines, "While Nas was telling Khalees I love you boo, I was shining my 9, you know how I do." Once again making a reference to Nas loving Khalees. Then in July 2008, Nas released the album Untitled. On the intro, Queens Get the Money, Nas takes shots at 50 yet again. He has the lines, "My assignment since he said retirement, hiding behind 8 Mile and the Chronic, gets rich but dies rhyming. This is high science. Now add 23 more from Queens to be more. I'm over their heads like a bulimic on a seesaw. Now that's 50 Porsche monkeys ate up at the same time. Nasty NASDAQ, y'all gon' bow, Holmes. This is Dow Jones." The first lines make it clear that this is a shot at 50, as he mentions 8 Mile and the Chronic, which are by Eminem and Dr. Dre respectively, who 50 Cent was signed to. Then Nas has the lines, "My queen used her milkshake to bring y'all to my slaughterhouse," which is in response to 50 Cent mentioning Khalees multiple times, especially in Piggy Bank. In 2009, 50 released his mixtape War Angel LP, and on the track Cream 2009, he appears to respond to Nas. On the chorus, he has the lines, "Cash rules, I keep a shooter around me, Queens get the money, I have a nigga kill y'all." Queens Get the Money is the name of the intro track on Nas's Untitled album, so this would appear to be a direct response to that. In February 2011, 50 Cent released the track Old 2003 Ferrari, on which he sends another shot at Nas. At the end of the first verse, he has the lines, "She alright for a night, but don't keep her. Ask Nas, Khalees was the illest ether." That is a reference to the fact that by this time, Nas and Khalees got divorced and Nas had to pay her child support. Once again, Ether is considered one of the best diss tracks of all time, so it's a comparison to how disrespectful the song is and Nas getting put on child support by his ex-wife. Also, if you look at it from the perspective of no rapper ever really putting out a diss track that really beat Nas, then you could make an argument that legal issues like child support are the only thing that can stop him. In July of 2012, Nas released the album Life is Good. On that album is the track Bye Baby, where he talks about his relationship with Khalees. On the third verse, he talks about people asking him why he trusted Khalees to begin with, which might include 50. Also on the album is the track A Queen Story. On the song, he mentions Black Just, E Moneybags, and other figures from Queens. The song can be compared to 50 Cent's infamous Ghetto Quran song where he spoke about the Supreme Team and others also from Queens. Nas apparently had more diss tracks aimed at 50, however they weren't released. Like one titled 10 Shots, which is a reference to the 9 shots 50 allegedly took, and Spastic, both of which the audio seems not available, however the lyrics have been posted online. In 2014, things were officially squashed between 50 and Nas, as Nas brought out 50 during his performance on Summer Jam. In 2016, on 50's This Is 50 YouTube channel, for the segment where someone raps their favorite verse from another artist, 50 Cent chose Nas's first verse from the song The Message from the It Was Written album, which once again shows that 50 was a fan of Nas.
And one of my favorite verses is from Nas, it's called The Message. Fake thug, no love, you get the slug, see before gusto, your luck blow. I didn't know till I was drunk though, you freak niggas played out, get fucked and ate out. Prostitute turned bitch, I got the gauge out, 96 ways I made out. Montana weight, good FELLA, verbal AK spray, dipped the chat sheet, jumped out the range, emptied out the ashtray. Glasses A, make a man cash his play, red dot plots, murder scheme, 32 shots, guns. Regulate with my Don 17s, rocks gleam from one ring. Now let y'all niggas know one thing. There's one light, one love, so there can only be one king. Highlights 11. Vegas style, roll dice and linen. The terror spinning on millenniums. 20G bets, I'm winning them. Threats, I'm sending them. Lex with TV sets the minimum. Ill sex, adrenaline, party with villains.
In 2023, 50 Cent had an interview with XXL magazine in which he was asked about his relationship with Nas and the song they had worked on for Nas's then upcoming album. 50 stated that he got Nas's attention after releasing How to Rob, and then Nas invited him on tour. He also stated that Nas was smarter than the music he was making, and was often reading books on the tour. So basically, Nas wasn't really in the streets like that, but was so good at rapping about it, you wouldn't expect otherwise. Tony Yayo in a Vlad TV interview would also state that when he was on the tour with Nas, that based on Nas's music, he expected things to be a certain way, but he often saw Nas quiet reading books.
I mean, I thought it was gonna be a lot of weed smoking, like bitches on the bus, but Nas was like, reading books and shit. So, I'm going up for Illmatic. I'm an addict for sneakers, 20s of Buddha, and bitches with beepers. So I thought, we was gonna be smoking hella weed. Bitches gonna be running through that shit, but he was kind of like a laid back cat that was kind of like smart reading books and shit. So I was just like, that was Nas. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker reading books and shit.
Then in July 2023, Nas and Hit Boy released the album Magic 2. On the album is the track Office Hours, which features 50 Cent. Then on August 30th that year, 50 Cent brought out Nas during his final lap tour, and Nas, while on stage, gave props to 50 for changing the rap game after releasing the Get Rich or Die Trying album.
Get Rich or Die Trying, motherfucking anniversary. When this man dropped, the whole rap game changed. Queens in the building, bro. Shout out Tony Yayo, Uncle Murder. My brothers, I love you, man. Make some noise for fucking noise.
So it would definitely seem as though the two were on good terms again. That's about it for the 50 Cent and Nas beef. There's probably some other shots somewhere in all the mixtapes that G-Unit was releasing, but you get the gist of it. Nas and 50 were cool with one another and had a falling out over those issues I mentioned in the beginning. Unlike 50's beefs with Ja Rule in the Game, this one didn't lead to fights and shootouts, so it was probably much easier for them to reconcile. On top of that, like I said, 50 was a fan of Nas and seemed to respect him, so he never really seemed to go too hard at Nas, and Nas could have probably gone harder on 50 if he wanted to, especially given their history as seen when Nas put out Ether aimed at Jay and Rockefeller. What are your thoughts on the beef? Was 50 right in feeling a certain way about not getting the heads up from Nas about his verse being replaced and about Nas featuring on the Murder Inc. song and considering signing to their label? Did 50 go too far by talking about Khalees? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe to the channel, check the description to follow on other platforms, and join the Discord server to talk to me and others about hip hop and all that.